The Morgan family moved into the large old house on the outskirts of Silver Hollow with a sense of excitement and hope. The house stood on a sprawling property that boasted a serene lake and a towering oak tree, its gnarled branches spreading like skeletal fingers across the sky. The tree looked ancient, almost out of place, as though it had been standing there long before the house was ever built. The Morgans, Evelyn and Tom, along with their teenage daughter, Lily, had been drawn to the property's picturesque beauty. The house, though old, was charming, with its wraparound porch and tall windows that overlooked the shimmering lake. They had gotten it for an almost unbelievable price, the realtor brushing aside their questions about why it had remained on the market for so long. For the first few weeks, everything was idyllic. Lily spent her afternoons sketching by the lake, Tom enjoyed working on small renovations, and Evelyn immersed herself in tending the overgrown garden. But soon, small things began to happen. At first, they were easy to dismiss. Doors that were left open would suddenly be shut. Lily's sketches would go missing, only to reappear later in different rooms. Evelyn often felt as though she was being watched while pruning the roses, that every time she turned around, she was met with emptiness. It wasn't until Lily came running into the house one evening, her face pale and eyes wide, that Evelyn began to worry. "There's someone by the tree," Lily whispered, her voice trembling. "I saw them standing there just staring at me." Tom went outside with a flashlight, searching the property. He found nothing. "Probably just a shadow," he said, trying to reassure her. "That tree does cast some weird shapes as the sun sets." But Lily was adamant. It wasn't a shadow, it was a man. He looked wrong. That night, Lily refused to sleep in her room, claiming she felt uneasy being alone. She slept in the guest bedroom instead, but her rest was fitful, plagued by nightmares she couldn't quite remember upon waking. A week later, Evelyn began hearing whispers. They were faint just at the edge of her perception, but they were unmistakable. At first, she thought it was Lily or Tom talking in another room, but the whispers continued even when she was alone. She followed the sound one evening, drawn to the old oak tree. Standing beneath its sprawling branches, she felt a sudden chill despite the warm summer air. She heard her name softly, as though spoken by someone standing just behind her. When she turned around, there was no one there. Tom was the last to notice the strange happenings, but when he finally did, it was undeniable. He was working late in the study one night when he heard footsteps pacing in the hallway. Thinking it was Evelyn, he called out, but there was no response. When he went to check, the hallway was empty. The floorboards creaked as though someone was walking right past him, but no one was there. The family began to see them after that, the ghosts. The first appeared to Evelyn as she stood in the kitchen chopping vegetables. She glanced up at the window over the sink and froze. A woman's face stared back at her, pale and gaunt, her hollow eyes filled with sorrow. Evelyn spun around, but the woman was gone. Lily encountered the second ghost near the lake. She was sketching as usual when she heard a splash. Looking up, she saw a young boy standing knee-deep in the water, his head tilted as though he were listening to something only he could hear. Before she could call out to him, he vanished, leaving the water eerily still. Tom saw the third ghost one evening while working in the garden. He had been digging near the base of the oak tree when he felt a presence behind him. Turning, he saw a man standing just a few feet away, his face shadowed but unmistakably angry. The man's lips moved, but no sound came out. Then, as suddenly as he had appeared, he was gone. The sightings became more frequent after that. The ghosts didn't seem aggressive, but their presence was oppressive, filling the house with a cold, uneasy energy. Lily began having vivid nightmares of drowning, waking up gasping for air. Evelyn often found herself drawn to the oak tree as though compelled to stand beneath its branches. Tom became irritable and short tempered, as though the constant feeling of being watched was wearing him down. Determined to understand what was happening, Evelyn began researching the property's history. What she found was chilling. Decades ago, before the house was built, the land had been a small farm owned by a family called the Harts. According to old records, tragedy had struck the Hart family. The young boy had drowned in the lake, the woman, his mother, had hung herself from the oak tree in her grief, and the man, presumably the boy's father, had vanished, leaving behind whispers of foul play. Evelyn shared her findings with Tom and Lily. "They're not haunting the house," she said. "They're haunting the land." The family decided to confront the spirits. Armed with candles and a makeshift plan, they gathered beneath the oak tree one night, calling out to the ghosts. They lit the candles and placed them in a circle, hoping to create some semblance of protection. "We know what happened to you," Evelyn said, her voice shaking. "We're sorry for your pain, but this is our home now. Please leave us in peace." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the air grew colder, the wind picking up and rustling the leaves of the oak tree. The ghosts appeared, their translucent forms flickering in the moonlight. They stood silently, watching the family with expressions that ranged from sorrow to anger. Evelyn stepped forward. "We'll honor your memory," she said, her voice firm despite her fear. "We'll keep the land safe, but you have to let us go. Let yourselves go." The ghosts didn't respond, but the oppressive weight in the air seemed to lift slightly. One by one, they faded, their forms dissolving into the night. After that night, the house grew quieter. The whispers stopped, and the feeling of being watched dissipated. The Morgans planted flowers around the base of the oak tree and placed a small plaque in memory of the Hart family. Though they never saw the ghosts again, they occasionally felt their presence, a soft, lingering energy that seemed almost protective. The Morgans stayed in the house for many years, and while they never forgot their ghostly encounters, they came to see the spirits not as threats, but as reminders of the past, a past that, like the towering oak tree, was deeply rooted in the land. Thank you for listening to my story. If you want to hear more scary stories, please like and subscribe to my channel.